Okay, so you're ready to dive into some serious literary waters today. Kang, the first South Korean author to win the Nobel Prize in Literature,
Wow.
right? It's got to be a big deal. Like winning an Oscar, but for, books.
Definitely a big deal.
Like, remember all the buzz when Bob Dylan won?
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
This is that level of recognition we're talking about.
Yeah. And it's even more impressive when you realize she's only the 18th woman to win it
Oh,
in
wow.
121 years.
Really puts it in perspective.
It does. It's not just a win for South Korea either. It's like this groundbreaking moment for literature globally.
Okay, so what makes her writing so special? Like, what did the Swedish Academy see in her work?
They said it was intense poetic prose that confronts historical traumas and exposes the fragility of human life. That's
That's a mouthful.
It is, right? But it's also kind of an amazing way to describe writing, don't you think? It really is. I think it captures her style perfectly
Ah.
and the themes she explores really well. So when they say intense poetic prose, it's not about like flowery language or anything. It's more about the way she uses words to create a certain feeling and atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
The article actually said that reading her novel, Greek Lessons, is kind of like watching a quiet indie film.
Really?
It sneaks up on you emotionally.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's about mood, about evoking something deep within the reader.
I like that. It's like she's not hitting you over the head with the story, but just pulling you in subtly.
Exactly. And that kind of leads us to the next part of the description, confronting historical traumas. Now, Han Kang's works often delve into the complexities of Korean history, but we don't want to give too much away.
Right.
That's for you to discover when you read her books.
Yeah.
But just knowing this background adds a whole other dimension, right?
Definitely. It makes you want to explore her books even more, especially if you're interested in history and culture and all that.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And finally, we have the fragility of human life.
Okay.
This is where it gets really interesting. It seems like her writing often explores themes of love, loss, connection.
Yeah, those big questions.
Exactly. The things that remind us how precious and how delicate life really is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And she does it all with such sensitivity and nuance. Really powerful stuff.
I'm sensing a theme here, like her writing is both universal, dealing with these big human experiences, but also deeply personal at the same time.
Absolutely.
That combination must be what makes her work resonate with so many people.
For sure.
Speaking of resonated, we got to talk about The Vegetarian.
Yes.
She won the International Booker Prize for that one, didn't she?
She did.
Another huge accomplishment, and the first Korean author to do so, I believe.
That's right. The Man Booker International Prize is specifically for translated fiction.
Oh, right.
So that really speaks to the global reach of her work. It's not just appreciated in South Korea. It's being translated and read all over the world.
That's incredible. It really shows how literature can transcend borders, right?
It's-
It's incredible to think about how literature can transcend borders like that. And it's not just about the awards, is it? It's about the stories themselves and the impact they have on readers.
Exactly. Speaking of impact, there's a quote from Han Kang in the article about The Vegetarian that I found particularly striking. She said, "I wanted to deal with my long-lasting question about human violence and the possibility or impossibility of refusing it."
Wow. That's quite a statement. It gives you a glimpse into the depth of her thinking and the kinds of questions she's grappling with in her writing. It's not just about crafting beautiful sentences. It's about exploring the complexities of human nature.
Precisely. And she's not afraid to delve into uncomfortable territory. The article even describes The Vegetarian as unsettling and transgressive. Now, these terms can mean different things to different people, but in this context, it seems to suggest that Han Kang's work challenges conventional norms and pushes boundaries, both in terms of subject matter and style.
It makes you think about those other Nobel Prize winners we admire, like Hemingway and Faulkner. They also grappled with challenging aspects of the human condition, didn't they? Do you see any parallels between their approaches and Han Kang's, or do you think she's forging a new path with her unique style?
That's a great question. There are certainly some thematic similarities, the exploration of human darkness, the search for meaning in a chaotic world. But what sets Han Kang apart, in my opinion, is her ability to blend those profound themes with a lyrical, almost poetic prose style. It's that combination that makes her work so compelling and thought-provoking.
It's like she's inviting us to look at the world through a different lens, one that reveals both the beauty and the brutality of human experience. It's no wonder she's resonating with readers worldwide.
Absolutely. And it's worth noting that her win comes at a time when there's a growing demand for diverse voices in literature. The article mentions that in recent decades, there's been a lack of diversity among Nobel literature winners. Han Kang's win could signal a shift towards greater inclusivity and recognition for writers from underrepresented backgrounds.
That's an exciting thought. It would be incredible to see the Nobel Prize embrace a wider range of literary voices and perspectives. Speaking of which, the article mentioned Kang, a Chinese author, as a potential winner. It said she's known for her experimental and surreal style.
Yes, and her work has been praised for its originality and its exploration of the subconscious mind. It's fascinating to see how the Nobel Prize sparks these conversations about the state of literature, highlighting both celebrated authors and those who perhaps deserve wider recognition.
It definitely makes you think about what makes a writer deserving of such prestigious recognition. What qualities or characteristics do you think elevate a writer to that level? Is it their mastery of language, their ability to capture the human experience, their willingness to challenge conventions, or something else entirely?
It's likely a combination of factors, wouldn't you say? It's about pushing the boundaries of what literature can be
Yeah.
while also connecting with readers on a deeply human level.
Absolutely. And that's something that Han Kang seems to do effortlessly.
Yeah.
So, as we delve deeper into her work, what are some of the key things we should be looking for? What insights can we gain from reading her novels?
Well, I think it's safe to say that even though she's dealing with these universal themes,
Hmm.
her novels really give you this unique window into Korean culture and history.
That's true. It's like we get to experience these things through the eyes of her characters, right?
Exactly. And beyond that, I think it's worth paying attention to her language, how she uses imagery,
Hmm.
the way she structures her stories. It all adds to her unique style and the messages she's trying to get across.
It's like we're like literary detectives or
A
something,
little bit.
trying to unravel the mystery of her brilliance.
Exactly.
So for those of us ready to jump into a Han Kang book, where do we even start?
Right.
You mentioned the vegetarian and Greek lessons. Any recommendations?
Both are amazing, but they're very different reading experiences.
Okay.
If you're drawn to more societal expectations and the human desire for freedom, even if it means going against the grain, The Vegetarian could be a good place to begin.
Sounds like it might be a little more provocative.
Yeah, it's definitely a book that will stay with you for a while.
Okay.
But if you're looking for something maybe a bit quieter,
Mhm.
something that explores connection and loss and finding meaning in a world that can feel kind of fragmented, then Greek Lessons might resonate more.
So it's like both novels are getting at the human experience, but from totally different angles. One's more internal, maybe, and the other's looking outward at how we relate to the world around us.
That's a great way to put it. But I think ultimately the best starting point is whatever speaks to you most right now in this moment.
Yeah, I love that. And hey, maybe after reading just one, you'll be hooked and want to devour all of her books.
Yeah.
I know I kind of do.
As you should. Discovering a new author, especially someone as talented as Han Kang, it's really exciting.
It is. It really opens your mind to new possibilities.
Yeah.
You know? And I think that's what's so amazing about this whole deep dive, realizing there are so many incredible authors out there just waiting to be discovered.
Absolutely. Writers from all over the world who are pushing boundaries and changing the way we see the world.
Exactly. And maybe, just like Han Kang, some of them will go on to get global recognition and inspire a whole new generation of readers. Who knows what literary treasures are out there just waiting to be found, right?
That's the beauty of it all, the endless possibilities that come with the power of words and stories.
It really is. Well, on that note, we encourage all of you listening to go out and find those authors, those stories, the ones that challenge and inspire you,
Yeah.
and keep those conversations about great books going.
Yes.
Until next time, happy reading, everyone.